Hi, everyone. Welcome to another amazing topic of conversation. I want to thank my sponsors, the Health Channel. So please sign up for their newsletter and everything related to health. And if you have any needs for workspaces or virtual, or if you just want to rent a boardroom for one meeting, please call Alexa's Workspaces. And for your resource community, Aventura Moms through Facebook and Instagram, where you can find anything and everything you need. And we look forward to seeing you at our monthly networking to be re-energized, refocused, and reimagined for our April networking at the AC Hotel. So, Niki, welcome.
Thank you.
It is really a pleasure to have you here. Your story has touched me in so many ways that you have no idea.
Thank you.
Because it really relates to what I am trying to do and what all the women are trying to empower these girls.
Yes.
And when I heard your story about how you changed a girl's life with a phrase from the Quran, it really connected me in a way. And then when I reached out to you, even though you're Muslim, I'm Jewish, we have so many things in common.
It's for sure.
We both have our values, we both have our beliefs, and we both share that we are cousins. Because the Muslim religion and the Jewish religion both came from one of our patrons.
That's true. That's true. Because Prophet Ibrahim has two sons, Isaac and Ishmael, and Muslims are from Prophet Ishmael, and Jewish people are from Isaac. So we are actual in cousins, but I don't know how we can stop this fighting, in Israel and Palestine to bring peace.
I know, but that's what we as women can really connect and make a lot of things happen.
Right.
So before we make peace in the world, which a lot of people should follow our example, let's talk about, tell me how you empowered this girl with the phrase from the Quran.
Actually, when I turned 15, my mother told me to get ready, to get married. And instead of, going to school or getting a car or a cellular phone at the age of 15.
But where were you living? Sorry.
It's okay. I was in Pakistan.
Okay.
Living in Pakistan, and graduated from 10th grade, age of 15. And mother told me two things. You make sure you wear a burqa when you're going outside the house and ready to get married. And I was so afraid to get married after seeing my two older sisters were abused and many, many women were abused. So I decided to go to school, get educated, and with the help of Lord, finally I convinced her, because in the beginning she said, you are not going to school, you are not allowed to go to school, and you should not be educated. And instead of knowing too much about Islam, excuse me, I know that men and women both are allowed to go to school and study, because even the very first time when Angel Gabriel came to see our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he told him to read. The word said ikra. Ikra is an Arabic word. It said read. So the very first word came from Lord to Prophet Muhammad was read. And we start reading, and then in the Quran says, it doesn't say that men should study or women should study. It says just study and get educated. So that gave me, empowered to do to myself to get an education. But unfortunately, my mother doesn't want me to go to school because she was afraid of culture, because culture doesn't allow girls to go to school. And she was convincing me to get ready to learn all the attitude, how to learn all the manners to be as a perfect wife. And I went on unwavering hunger strike. And after a lot of protest, she allowed me to go to school. But she said on one condition, that you go to school, but if any suitor come, you have to get married.
Accept. What did your father say?
At that time, my father passed away, but the age of 10, when I was 10-year old, my dad passed away, but he was fond of education. He always tell my mother, I'm going to send all these, my 6 girls to school to study. But unfortunately, he didn't know that we're going to end up in the city of prejudice, where women are not allowed to go to school at that time. I'm talking about 50 years ago.
Now it's coming back.
I'm sorry?
Now we're with the Taliban and they are not permitting girls to go to school. It's coming back.
Yes, it's a living example. Poor Malala, who is a Nobel Prize winner, she was shot. Why she was shot? She was going to school. And Taliban said, it's not allowed in Islam, the girls should go to school. Now,
but it doesn't say anywhere in the Quran, right?
In the Quran, it say even you have to go for education. You even travel to Saudi Arabia, to China. At that time, the mode of traveling was on camels. So you can understand how far it was.
So
you know what I mean?
How did, it doesn't matter how you interpret it. It never says that women should not get educated.
Women should not be staffed for anything, because Bibi Khadija, Prophet Muhammad's wife, was a businesswoman and she was doing the business. My mother doesn't want me to go to school, and Taliban doesn't want Malala to go to school, but Bibi Khadija was doing the business. And she hired Prophet Muhammad to help her in her business, and later on, she proposed him to marry him.
So it was even her proposing him.
You tell me. That's why I've been, I was fighting for this reason. Even my mother one day told me, don't teach me religion. I know what the religion is. And I said, no, Mom, you never went to school. All these mullahs, they are well educated or not, I don't know. But the way they give us all the information is not true. It's not Islam, Mommy. And she said, oh, you going to teach me Islam now? You better keep your mouth shut, because nobody will accept you as a bride, because you're willing to go to school and you're willing to ask me, asking me all these questions.
So basically it was like
heartbroken.
you couldn't talk. You couldn't be yourself. You couldn't do anything.
No, I should not ask any question. And why? Because I was born a woman. You know what I mean? What was my crime? Why I was punished, and why all the women are being punished? You know what the punishment is? Because we've been being born a woman.
But if the women wouldn't be there, there wouldn't be any men either.
Well, that's in your opinion, but men should accept this and understand this cause, you mean?
No, I know it's my opinion, and it's very frustrating. Because now we understand that we live in a free country and we're allowed to preach and to believe in anyone we want.
Right. My request to all the Muslims throughout the world, fight for your rights, fight for our rights, but through education, like I did.
And that's how it brought you.
I'm sorry. And especially to my Muslim sisters who are being abused and whose children had been snatched from them. How can they do this? But they said Islam allowed that father can have a children, but they do not realize the purpose of doing that is father should support the children, not snatch them away from the mother who is feeding the babies. You mean my sister was feeding the baby, and her 2 daughters were snatched from her far away where she couldn't reach. And she was like a fish out of water. It's not Islam, it's a culture.
It's a culture.
It's a
And
culture.
that's how that when you got educated, that's how you got to meet Malala?
Yes, when I was in America and on Facebook, there's an anchor name is Farah Hussain. She invited me to go to Islamabad and talk about the speaking engagement for 30 minutes with her, a live interview. And when I got there, there was a young, beautiful girl was sitting, covering her head, and I was not.
Okay.
And I was very impressed by her covering her face, very simple way. And then she went on there I met Malala, and I met her father, brother Yousafzai. And when Malala was talking with Farah, giving an interview, I was talking to Malala dad, brother Yousafzai, and he seems like he was exactly like my father when I was a 10-year-old girl. And I bless and I asked God, keep him alive for 100 years because my father died at age 51 and Malala need him. He was praising Malala. And then he gave me his email.
That's how you got connected because
Yes.
but that is how your story relates to Malala. The only difference was that Malala did have her father praising her and your dad passed away and your mom was just following the culture.
She was a helpless, poor, scared woman with 6 girls.
You never had any brothers?
I had 2 brothers. Thank God I had 2 brothers, and I always wish and I ask God, Allah, why didn't you give my mom 8 boys instead of 6 daughters? So she could not go through this misery.
Wow. So you wrote a book.
Yes.
You have a very well-reviewed book.
Yes.
What is your book about and why the title? You have a copy of your book there?
Yes, that copy. The title of the book is Golden Bangles, Hidden Tears. These are the bangles I'm wearing. And these are made of gold. I'm loaded with gold bangles. But when I abused by my mother-in-law and my husband, I'm not supposed to cry louder to let anyone know that I have been abused by my husband. So I picked that title for that reason. And I was very happy in American life after my husband's death.
That way, you got married where? In Pakistan?
I got married in Pakistan. We got married in Pakistan through an arranged marriage. He was my first cousin.
With that? And you were
I'm
okay
sorry?
finally with that? You accepted that you had to get married, or was it forced?
No, because I was educated, and then I had a degree at the age of 19, and nobody wanted to marry me because of my education and my dark skin. But fortunately, Lord was on my side, and my husband's mother wanted to marry a girl who is educated because her son demanded. I wanted to marry an educated girl. So here I was in the picture. Got married.
And at this time you were okay getting married?
Yes, ma'am, because I was already 20, and my mother talked to my brother, and my brother said, Mom, let her marry as soon as possible because she is already overaged because she's 20. Yes, and she has a degree of college degree, and people don't like to get married, the educated woman. They want innocent girls. So let her marry as soon as possible.
So you got married to your first cousin?
Yes, he is my
and
first
what
cousin.
Happened?
I got married, fortunately came to America in 1974.
Okay.
Another culture shock because I used to wear a burqa, not only a hijab, full covering face burqa.
So what you're wearing now is what?
Now I'm wearing a dupatta. I'm wearing a dupatta to cover my head.
Your head. And
Yes.
the burqa is the one that you cover completely.
Yes, cover your whole face. Even the temperature was 130 used to be in Pakistan.
And you had to cover everything when you went outside.
Yes, you have to.
So when you got here, what happened when you got to the United States?
I came to United States, culture shock, but I was very lucky to marry a Muslim man who was a true Muslim. He taught me how to be happy. He treat me like I'm a queen. And sometimes I even pinch my skin to see if it's not a dream, it's a reality.
Okay. But then you talk about the abuse. What happened? Did he change?
He never abused me, even the first day when I arrived here, and he asked me, what would you like for breakfast? And I looked at him because I thought maybe I'm not listening properly. And he
Yeah,
prepared the breakfast for me. And then he treated me like Prophet Muhammad used to treat his women,
his wife.
his
So,
wives.
so what happened? You talk about abuse in your book. So this was not your husband?
It was not my husband, but my two older sisters were abused. And even one of the sister husband took away her two children at the age of 4 years and 3 years. And then he divorced her, blaming that she was an unfit mother and a corrupt woman. And it's very easy to blame a woman because that's the only tool they have to divorce a woman, saying that she was an uncorrupt woman, even though in Islam, you have to present 3 witnesses that woman is corrupt. But unfortunately, so many women had been killed even to this day without finding out what the truth is. If the man said woman is corrupt, she'd been stoned to death in open public area. And we got to stop that.
But so it was your sisters who were abused.
My sister were abused, and so many other women I have seen, they were butchered in the name of religion, which is not true. It's a culture. And so many women had been burned to death. And so many women, acid has been thrown on their faces because they wanted to argue with husband. And it's not allowed, but it's everything allowed in Islam, but it's a culture. They're using the
As
name
an
of Islam to
excuse.
torture as an excuse, right? And my request to every single Muslim man, please read Quran, read Surah Nisa, and you will see what God said about women. Treat them with gentle hand, especially if they are with children. You should treat them even nicely. Making me emotional, you know what I mean? Giving.
I understand that you're an activist now and you're fighting for women's rights.
Yes.
You speak publicly.
I have been so many different schools, universities, even in Pakistan, telling all the girls, get ready, get educated. I know, unfortunately, still many girls are not allowed to go to school, especially in the villages. The girls go to school till 5th grade, some 8th grade, and some at high school. When my mom was dying to send me to college, at that time, Benazir Bhutto was in England. She was going to college there. And when I told my mom, she said, they are not belong to our community. Our community traditions are different than other communities. Aren't we all the Muslims? Aren't we all read Quran? But unfortunately, we read Quran in Arabic. When I was 10-year old, my father was so proud of me that my girl finished the whole Quran at the age of 10. But believe it or not, I did not understood a single word. It was Chinese to me. So my request is, I'm not a mullah. I have no power to give any fatwa, but I will request that Quran should be printed in every single language. So this way people understand what we are reading.
And that's why we need to get educated.
We need to get educated, and through education, you can read Quran and you follow all the Sunnah, how Prophet Muhammad used to treat his wives.
And this is very eye-opening because I didn't know that the Prophet, his wife was the one who was a businesswoman. So instead of going the other way around and empowering women, they went the other way back.
And one more thing I like to add here, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, wife Bibi Khutija was 40-year-old and Prophet Muhammad was 25-year-old. And she was not only a single, but she was a widow. And me, when I turned 20, I was over
age.
And I became a clearance item.
But look, you got married and you got married to a wonderful man.
Yes, because God is always on our side. He had good plan for me, which I didn't know when I was young in Pakistan. But when I came to America, I realized that how he treated me and how American community gave me a key to open the door to success. And I achieved American dream.
Did you go back to Pakistan?
I go back to Pakistan many, many times. I love Pakistan, but...
Are you afraid?
No, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid at all. I'm not afraid of anything. If I have been killed even now, if I save one life, I'm a winner.
Well, I know the story of a girl that you changed because she went to her parents and said, we need to read. And it doesn't say that men or women read. It just says read. And I know her parents actually let her go to university and let her study.
Yes,
turned her life around because of you.
I have to tell this because I still tears in my eyes even to this moment that I was in one of the academy giving a lecture about Islam and all the teaching what I have been through, and the girl was listening to me. She was in complete hijab and I'm proud of her. And after listening to my lecture, she went home because dad planned to take her back to, I don't know which country, Lebanon or Egypt, I don't remember, to marry her. And she wanted to become a doctor. And finally, after listening to me, I explained to her that tell your dad, why don't you read Quran and you see how women are allowed to go to school? And then daddy started crying. He embraced the young girl and he said, you must go. And she was selected in one of the best university in Europe. And thank God, you know what I mean? I opened my mouth and somebody at least, you know what I mean?
Listen.
Became successful.
No, you're amazing. And I hope that a lot of people get inspired by this story.
I hope so.
Niki, thank you. And for everyone who wants to buy Niki's book, you can get it on Amazon, right?
Yes, you can get on Barnes and Noble, any bookstore.
Any bookstore.
Right, but on Amazon they can read more about the book story. So
and
this way they have more knowledge.
about Niki's story. So everyone, thank you so much. And above all, stay safe. Until next week.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.